Hey guys.
Hey!
Hey, welcome to the Player 5 podcast. I am Rendon. Alongside with me is Austin.
What's up?
And this is episode 2.
Episode 2? We made it this far already?
Already, yeah.
Hey! 2 grunts had to fall for that.
2 grunts. Okay.
2 grunts,
We're not
yeah.
gonna do that every time, though.
We'll do it till like episode 1000. We'll drop just 1,000 grunts each on that one. And after 1,000, I think it might be a little bit overkill, so we might stop.
Yeah, that would probably be like the whole episode, probably.
Yeah, but you know, it's up to the people. Whatever the people want. If they want 1,000 grunts to die, then you know we can let 1,000 grunts die. You know, the grunts deserve it. So
Right, I agree.
So episode 2, people. If you're new to this new podcast, we are a gaming and movie podcast. We like to talk about weekly news and games, movies, debate, conversate, all of that fun stuff. But if you missed episode 1, then you missed the tragic story of what happened to Waluigi. And I feel it's important I tell the ending to that story. I didn't tell everything. My Nintendo Insider told me to keep things on the low.
You have more on this?
Yeah, like I said, my completely reliable source told me to keep it on the DL.
Yeah, you're a Nintendo Insider, obviously.
Yes. But I feel like it's appropriate. I feel like a lot of people, you know, they had some closure, but they felt the tragedy. So, you know, after Sakurai, you know, to Waluigi. Tragic.
Absolutely tragic.
Something else happened after that.
What is that?
So Waluigi's spirit left his body, and from what I'm told, he is waiting at the end of the so-called spirit mode that's going to be in Smash Bros. As the final boss. But we can't talk too much about it because absolutely no one knows about the spirit mode at all.
Yeah, no, obviously there's not any videos on spirit mode, obviously.
Wait, there's videos about it?
Yeah.
What? There's videos about this. Why?
Oh man. Well,
maybe because some people did deep pixelation, I guess that's the word, on the menu that was shown in the Smash Direct. I guess that is a thing. Otherwise, we've all been bamboozled.
Bamboozled.
We've been bamboozled, people. So for those who don't know, I don't know who did the credits. So credit to whoever did this. I'll find you out. I'll shout you out eventually. Took a screenshot of the menu that was shown in the Smash Bros. Direct with the blurred green section under the Smash one, and shows that it said the word spirit. They also showed what it was in the Japanese version of the Direct, and the translation to the word that came up was also
spirit.
Either spirit or very close to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people believe that this will be the new story mode.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I'm excited they're doing a story mode.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that it looks dark because you know me, I am fully into the darkness.
It does have like a dark tone to it. I mean, I noticed in the videos that with Ridley and Simon Belmont, they're pretty dark.
A lot of death.
Yeah, there's a lot of death going on.
You know, it was kind of a eye opener when we saw Mario and Mega Man get stabbed in the stomach. And I think a lot of people were like, a lot of people commented on that, but it kind of got brushed to the side after a while. I think after Luigi just straight up got wrecked.
Killed by death itself.
Sliced in the neck, and a ghost came out.
Right.
I think we have to start thinking, is this what spirits will be about?
It might be. I don't know. When I saw what you're talking about, like the Ridley trailer, I kind of saw it as like, oh, this is just an announcement trailer. They're gonna make it all intense because it was E3, you know. But after seeing like what they actually did, where you see them get stabbed, like in the art that they show whenever he flies through. Yeah, between that and then like I think it was kind of like you said, it seemed to be an intro, and then when Luigi died, it was like, wow, okay, this is real. Also, I wanted to talk about like, did you notice they had like blue fire like in multiple videos, you see them there holding like blue fire.
I remember the death guy holding blue fire.
Yeah, I think that might have some kind of key into like the story.
Yeah. Also, I feel like there's so much detail in these trailers, right? And they're bringing out cameos and everything. I feel like this is just theorizing here. Because also remember, King DDD got mauled by King K. Rool.
Right.
They're showing a lot of villains coming up. A lot of these reveal trailers have been about villains.
Right.
In fact, actually, all the reveal trailers, because they showed Daisy. Obviously the Inkling one was way before the direct, and so that was a trailer. But Daisy wasn't really a trailer. Chrom wasn't really a trailer. Dark Samus not really a trailer either. But Ridley,
Castlevania characters.
Castlevania,
Yeah.
which I guess aren't enemies, but they showed off potential enemies because Dracula was shown in that one, and the way that they presented him, he could be in the story mode.
Right.
And King K. Rool shown a lot of enemies or dark themes in the trailers. And so
Yeah.
I'm wondering, with how cinematic these trailers have been and the detail in them, I wonder if these are actually cutscenes from the story.
From the story.
In which I would be fine with. These are gorgeous cutscenes.
Right. They look so good. And that's the kind of feel I got too. I mean, the fact that it was like Samus, Mega Man, and Mario walking down this gangway and in like this dark area. It's like they're kind of teaming up as like heroes, and then a villain comes in to attack them. And that's kind of the theme you see in like Brawl, when in the Subspace of Mystery story. You saw it was really all about just villains versus heroes. And you know, that points to the heroes working together: Mega Man, Mario, and Samus. And the villains obviously are trying to kill people. Ridley killed Mario and Mega Man, and Death killed Luigi. And you're right. I feel like for an announcement trailer, they do go all out, but I don't feel like these are just announcement trailers. They're part of something else, other big story being told.
Exactly. And if you think about Subspace of Mystery and how they sometimes reveal characters. Now, remember a key detail that they said about this Smash is that your starting roster when you first get the game is going to be limited, but characters will be unlocked.
Right.
If you think about Subspace of Mystery, that was how you unlocked a lot of the characters in Brawl.
Yeah, that's true.
After you got to their story part and they were introduced. If you look at how Simon Belmont was introduced in his trailer,
yeah,
I think that's probably how Simon will be unlocked in Smash Bros. Ultimate. And that's probably when you'll start playing him in this story mode.
Yeah.
What I'm really interested in is how Luigi got there. I wonder if it's just going to be a random, like Luigi's just there, or if the story progresses that Luigi gets sent there.
Yeah.
With his Poltergeist 3000.
Yeah, and the fact that he has the Poltergeist 3000 makes me think that they're going to use some kind of Luigi's Mansion kind of throwback story, or kind of like mini plot to kind of get him to this world where Castlevania characters exist. That makes me really excited. I feel like they could use some kind of story with like Dr. Egad or something, like opens a portal
Suka,
and
suka.
he goes,
Yappa yappa.
yeah, dude, he's the best. But I could see them really using that as an advantage to like create portals to like these dimensions of where the Castlevania characters exist in this universe and Mario exists in this universe, and they kind of come together. But yeah, no, it definitely seems like it's a story mode, and that just makes me so excited. It shows they're putting a lot of time and effort into it. I do want to bring up though the King K. Rool announcement trailer. It was like really well done. It didn't seem to mesh together as well as the other two. Like how we're talking about how they kind of seem like they're part of a story.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see it still being like a comedic part of the storyline where King Dedede scares DK and Diddy.
Correct.
So I can still see it being like part of the storyline as like a comedic side thing to introduce King K. Rool. But do you think there's anything to the fact that story, that small story being told in his introduction, doesn't seem to fit as much with the other two?
I think it may. Here's why. I think it was presented differently, but I think for the story reasons, if when you introduce Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong into the story of it all, they may not have that much before King K. Rool is put into the picture from after Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong come in here. But King Dedede might have already been in the story for a while. Because if you remember in Subspace of Mystery, there was a lot of villains, but Bowser and Ganondorf especially were running a lot of the stuff going on. Wario was kind of running around doing some stuff. DDD was running around doing some kind of stuff, but there was two main villains who were doing everything in the background until we met the real final boss. So maybe King DD is kind of playing the same role that he did in Subspace of Mystery, where he's kind of going around to all the different worlds and causing havoc. And maybe he was trying to troll Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong once they're entered into the story. But King K. Rool says, nah, these are my people. These are my apes to beat. So get out of my way.
Yeah.
So
that
maybe,
sounds likely. You're saying as
Nintendo, they're going to be funny about it.
Yeah, they're going to have some comedy in there. And that's why I was saying it could be part of a comedic side thing on the plot. But yeah, that makes sense too. I mean, maybe it doesn't fit as close together as the other two videos together, but it probably could be somehow to get DK and Diddy Kong to like join the storyline, get their villain involved. So,
right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a good way to introduce King K. Rool to the series in the story mode, because if it was King K. Rool at the beginning of that and not King DDD, I feel like it would be kind of an anticlimactic King K. Rool reveal into the story.
Right.
But if he comes in like that, and maybe there's a cut scene right before that in the story mode where they allude to King K. Rool about to show up anyways, so now they add more anticipation to it.
Yeah.
And then get trolled by King DDD, because anyone who hasn't seen this reveal trailer, which shocking if anyone hasn't by the time they play this game, that might get them, right?
Right.
But man, we'll see.
But you're right. Anyone buying this game is going to have already seen this video.
Listen, I mean, I remember someone else saying it on a different video. I forget who, so sorry I can't give you credit. But, he was talking about how when Sakurai had said that they'll be showing off every character before, how back in our day when we were younger and the internet wasn't as popular, we didn't know everything, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these things were a surprise to us. Now we're kind of spoiled with everything. And so I think it's like now it's just this day and age, like everyone's going to know everything about a game before it comes out, unless they do DLC or keep it secret, which in this case, they said they're not really going to keep many secrets before it actually comes out. So yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if anyone didn't know anything, unless they are just avoiding the internet like heck to keep some of this stuff a secret, which I know someone like that. So shout out to you if you somehow keep up with this. Don't listen to our podcast. I mean, probably too late of a spoiler alert, but if you don't want to know, don't listen to this podcast.
Good job.
We're going to talk about these
alert.
things. So the next thing that we can theorize about this spirit mode and the way that the character reveal trailers have been, they've been making an effort to make sure everyone has their villains.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say more villains have been announced than good guys so far.
That's true.
Actually, no, I take that back. But I feel like there's been more emphasis on enemies being announced.
Well, it makes sense because if everyone is here, like they say in the videos, like everyone's going to be in the game, most people that are in the game are heroes, I would say.
Yes.
It makes sense they're kind of pulling in the villains because that's the rest of the pool they have to pull from,
So I have a theory.
Okay.
And I said this last time, and you threw my theory off, but I'm bringing it back. If they're making an emphasis on bringing the bad guys in, and they're bringing young Link back in. Now, I said maybe they bring in Skull Kid with Majora's Mask on, but you said he had already been shown off as a assist trophy on the E3. I rewatched the E3. He was not shown.
Okay.
But they showed the moon. And if you were to take out Skull Kid as an assist trophy, but bring back young Link and Termina Bay, you might need an assist trophy to replace him. I am making a theory. Skull Kid will be revealed, and this will probably not happen. I'm hopeful. I admit that. But I theorize that Skull Kid will be revealed as a character.
It's probably not a bad thing to think would happen. I just said he wasn't because I know he was an assist trophy in Smash Bros. 4.
He was.
Yeah, right. So I thought he was revealed in E3 as well. I guess I was wrong. But that's probably not a bad thing to assume. I mean, you're right. They're bringing in all the villains, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen like you said. I'm not too hopeful on it, but I think it would be really cool. There's a lot of storyline that probably could be told there. Like you said, the moon's in, and if they're going to be bringing Great Bay back, I don't know exactly how they're going to theme the story, but if it could take place somewhere that is related to the levels, they can use Great Bay as a space. Yeah, I feel like it's a possibility, but I don't really think it's going to happen.
Because I feel like, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like you have Toon Link now and Young Link.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really hard to coincide in a story mode. I wonder if they do something funny with those two, like meeting each other or something. But then again, just brought up another idea. Do they bring in a cartoony Zelda character villain?
They might could do that. What if they brought in Tetra, Zelda's cartoony form, in Wind
Which
Waker?
is possible.
Yeah.
I mean, if for story purposes, if they want to kind of focus around Toon Link, they might do that.
That's a possibility. I mean, I haven't really thought about it before, but that sounds like it'd be cool to me. You know, we didn't talk about it last time. We kind of talked on the last episode about how Link's character Link's skin in the new Smash Brothers is going to be like Breath of the Wild. But did you notice that they showed this off at E3, but Zelda has been like reskinned as like the Link Between Worlds version of Zelda from the DS. So it's kind of funny that like she's going to be kind of toony, not Toon like the way Toon Link looks, but you know, a little
definitely
more,
that Skyward Sword 3DS looking feel.
Yeah, I'd say 3DS more than Skyward. Yeah, she does look a little toony in Skyward Sword, but she definitely doesn't look like how she looks in Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess. Cause
No,
the Twilight Princess Zelda was what we saw in Brawl and in Smash 4.
Yeah, and the reason why they said she's getting that skin is because Zelda is more of a scholar and adventurer in Breath of the Wild, not a fighter.
Right.
I didn't play Link Between Worlds. I know you have. I don't know if you beat it.
Yeah, I beat it.
I don't know if Zelda
It's a
has
great
more
game.
fighting side of her in Link Between Worlds.
I would say she definitely. That's the last game I feel like she had a prominent role in. I know Breath of the Wild, she had a big role, but like you said, it was really just her backstory and not really her as a fighter. But yeah, she does have a role in that game as far as like fighting goes. But it makes sense because if you think about it, I mean, before Breath of the Wild, that was really the last big Zelda game. I mean, not console, obviously. 3DS games are a little less hyped than console games are as far as Zelda goes. But that's the last like big Zelda game. So it makes sense that they would kind of want to pull from there. Yeah, no, I don't know. To kind of bring back what you were saying, I don't know who other villains they could bring in. And Skull Kid, I don't think it would happen, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they would do because Skull Kid never really fought Majora's Mask. You fought the mask once the mask was off the kid. As a lot of us like to joke, Majora Michael Jackson. For anyone who's fought the final boss in Majora's Mask, you'll get what I mean when you're fighting Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I'm sure I've piqued your interest.
Yeah, because like Skull, the reason I kind of said last time was that he didn't seem like a character, like a full-blown playable character to me, is because he's not really a villain per se. He's more like Skull Kid's like he's kind of pranking in some ways, and he's just possessed by this mask that's pure evil.
But like I've always said, we can always bring it back to Wii Fit Trainer.
Right. Yeah.
If you can make a character out of Wii Fit Trainer, I can't put nothing past you. Congratulations. I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment, but take it as a backhanded compliment, I guess. So I guess now we're going to get into a possible character reveal later that we think Sakurai's teased, or actually next. But just now, just for fun, I guess now that King K. Rool is in, I guess the three people I'm rooting for last is still Banjo-Kazooie. That's my number one. I hope Banjo makes it. Skull Kid now that Crystal's gone, I'll replace Skull Kid for Crystal. And Shantae. I'm still hoping for those three. I don't think any of those three will make it, and especially based on the stories that they're doing, I don't see any reason to bring them in except for Skull Kid.
Right.
But those are kind of my hopes that those three make it.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular that you want to see make it?
Well, I haven't really put together like a list or anything because I care about it, but I'm not like super like wanting any one specific. But I will say something weird to me over the time that Smash Bros. Has been around. Someone who's not been considered a character is Toad. I was thinking about this the other day, specifically because Captain Toad, the last two times they released those games, it's been like they really put a lot of time and effort by like, marketing these games, and apparently the game's really good. So I would think like maybe a Captain Toad character. I know he's like Peach's deflect in the past Smash Brothers.
Right, but Captain Toad would be different. Right. There's a lot of Toads.
Exactly.
So Peach could be using any of her commoner Toads. You know, Captain Toad, I feel is
he has his own
on higher.
He has his own character. He's like he has his own story. He's Captain Toad. He has a pickaxe and like a mining helmet. He has his own little thing going with him.
Since you say pickaxe and mining helmet, let me bring up the fact that the leak that has so far gotten most characters right, because there is one leak that has said Simon Belmont, Inkling, Chrom, Dark Samus, King K. Rool, and Ridley. There is a leak that has those. They also say Minecraft Steve and Luigi number 2, which we talked about last week. Maybe there's an alternative version of Luigi with the Poltergeist 3000, much like there's an alternative version of Mario with Dr. Mario, because Dr. Mario is not considered an Echo character. If you look at the official Smash Bros. Website, there is a Luigi 2. It could be a Poltergeist 3000 Luigi, but Minecraft Steve, especially with all this lovey-doveyness between Microsoft and Nintendo, they even have commercials together now playing Minecraft.
Right.
Would be interesting. I don't think it would be a good fit, but it'd be interesting.
Minecraft Steve in the game. That would be cool. I would definitely want Captain Toad before I'd want someone like that. But, I mean, we played a lot of Minecraft. I think it'd be fun. It'd be kind of like Game & Watch, how he fights, where he's obviously this 2D character in this 3D world. It could be like this blocky character in this graphic, intense world. I think that Minecraft... Yeah, I think that would be really cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have a sword. He has a bow. He can build. Like, maybe that could be one of those things.
There are a lot of options there as far as creating a fighting style.
But speaking of both Minecraft Steve and Poltergeist 3000 Luigi, can we just tell the people, it's been years since we've been on Minecraft, but we are very proud that we remade Luigi's Mansion to scale.
Yeah, I can't believe we're talking about this.
That is something that happened years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago, me and Austin, we spent a lot, and I mean a lot of time playing Minecraft. And like you said, we built Luigi's Mansion to scale, room for room, because we were so obsessed with that game when we were younger.
We even added like fridges that work, lights that come on and off,
right?
Floors that move, like the dance floor. Like we went hard.
I had no idea like we were going to talk about this, but yeah, I'm very proud of that.
We had to build the elevator that takes you from the toy room to the Bowser fighting or the roof stage, whichever it takes. We built the elevator that works. We even built a chimney that takes you to the golden room and only one way out.
Just like in the game, you couldn't get into the room.
Just like in the game, we did that. And I'm just saying, if Minecraft Steve and Luigi's Mansion Luigi makes this game, I'm going to say that we called it just years ago.
Okay, just because of that.
Just because of that. It counts as we called it.
Yeah, Nintendo.
You got issues.
Our server.
And you got issues. A grunt can fall for you.
That's great. I love it.
So going into possibly a realistic character reveal, we have this news. We have a segment that we're going to establish. It's called Button Mashing News. This is where we kind of go quickly through a couple topics. We don't spend as long as we do our main topics.
Back in the day when every game was like just press the A button as fast as possible to win.
And then third-party controllers come out and you just hit the turbo button.
Oh, yeah.
Cheaters.
I didn't do that.
I'm calling you out. Yeah, we don't have a button mashing on our soundboards yet.
I got something. I can do this.
Oh.
Yeah. I did it.
Mashing all the buttons. That'll be our cue for now. So number one on our button mashing news is a lot of people believe Sakurai has teased Isaac from Golden Sun for Smash Brothers, based on a picture of Rathalos and I think Martha and Roy, and the way they stand and how it compares to how Isaac from Golden Sun stood against the dragon. I don't know. There's a lot of reaching here.
Right.
But it is interesting. Isaac was highly requested in the ballots. A lot of people wanted him for Smash 4. I know personally I'd be excited. I don't know. I've never played Golden Sun. I don't know if you have, Rendon.
I have
I
not.
never have.
I don't know much about it in all honesty, but he was an assist trophy, right? In one of the
He
games.
was. Yes. Yeah. He did the hand. He made you talk to the hand. The hand
Oh
will
my
push you off.
gosh. That was such an
Yeah,
annoying
that's
assist trophy.
yeah. So Nintendo has recognized him. People have asked for him. It seems like Sakurai has quote unquote teased him. I would be happy to have him. Here's why. I knew nothing about Shulk before he came in.
Yeah.
But he was an interesting character, and he works well for the game. And much like if you never saw the Honest trailers by Smosh Games, shout out to them, who did the Honest trailers on Smash 4, I always love the part where he says, raise your hand if you knew who Shulk was before Smash Brothers. Congratulations, you're Japanese.
Japanese, yeah.
I don't know anything about Isaac, but I know enough that his character is interesting that it would fit well. And so I would be very happy if it was true.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there that, like you said, has been asking for it for a long time, and it looks like they're reaching. Like they're actually putting in stuff that fans want. They're putting in characters that I feel like, people have wanted really for a long time, and King K. Rool, he's right there as well. But, I feel like they're putting in as many things as the community's asking for. I feel like it would be really cool to have him. Like I said, I haven't played Golden Sun, but the fact that he's been an assist trophy, that shows you right there, he might be interesting pick because Nintendo, like you said, has recognized him. And I'm pretty sure, I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure he was also a trophy in Smash Bros. Brawl. Or maybe Melee.
Sure.
Yeah, he, most anything in the game got a trophy in that mode. You never know. That'd be cool. I feel like it would be a fun character to play with. He's like a swordsman, as far as I know.
Yeah, and like you said, Sakurai has been reaching. And in the case of reaching from Isaac to assist trophy to become a character, great. As far as reaching for Waluigi to become a assist trophy to a character, the only thing he reached for was his gun. Poor Waluigi.
Yeah.
You just don't get a break, Waluigi. I'm sorry. Where time? Maybe next
It's not
time.
happening.
It is not the where time.
Right.
But moving on, staying within Smash Bros. For now, Super Smash Con 2018
Yeah,
happened.
for the record, I will say that we're not just a Smash Brothers podcast.
But it is big right now.
It's
and we are
big.
talking about what is in the news.
Right.
We have other stuff to talk about. We have Bethesda to talk about. We'll get to them. But yeah, right now we got some Smash Bros. News. SmashCon 2018. You wanted to talk about this. I have not seen the videos yet. I've not had the time.
Yeah.
I want to. But you said it was so amazing you had to bring it up here.
Right. Yeah, so probably people found from listening to the first episode, I'm kind of getting into the Smash Brothers Pro scene, specifically Melee. And what we're going to talk about is mostly about Melee. But SmashCon 2018 happened this past weekend. It was very interesting. A lot of people who I know that follow the scene, they are saying that the grand finals was the best set of the year. And it kind of is for a lot of reasons, but to just kind of go into it, the final three were Mewtwo King, Armada, and Hungrybox. Austin, I know you know Hungrybox because he plays Jigglypuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great pick. It's really funny that he actually.
I'm somehow good at Dr. Mario and Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Right. But what was interesting about it is Mewtwo King, he defeated Hungrybox, and this is something we'll talk about a little bit later, but Hungrybox's showing against Mewtwo King was very, it was just, you could tell Hungrybox was not feeling it, and he was not at his best game, which is kind of sad. But like I said, we'll get into other stuff about Hungrybox the next thing we talk about. So, the way it works, I don't know if you know, Austin, but the way it works is it's best of three all the way up to the grand finals. In the grand finals, it's best of 5. And so Mewtwo King immediately came off of a win from Hungrybox best of 3, and then went to the grand finals, which he was playing Armada. And so Mewtwo King, he's looking out. He wants to take Armada's throne. Because Armada, just like I said, came off. He got second at Evo. He did really good, and he's just a character definitely one to beat in the scene. And so Mewtwo King's wanting to show what's what. And so after the best of 3 with Hungrybox where he lost, they go into the grand finals. So they play best of 5, and Armada's not kind of struggling at the beginning. and there's kind of a lot going on actually on stage, not in the game, but like on stage with the people, like on stream. There's a lot going on because apparently there was something going on where Mewtwo King was like more in front of the TV than Armada, and Armada's like, scoot over. There was like a little bit of drama going on, and like switching ports. Like, you know, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, what player 1 through 4 ports you're in on the GameCube.
Only matters if you player 5.
Player 5. Player 5.
Yeah. But you know, like, you know, when we were like kids, you know, we would fight over who got to be player 1 or something, you know? And I'm not saying it's childish. I'm just saying that there was a little bit of like drama going on stage. You can kind of tell. But anyways, long story short, the Mewtwo King beat Armada, and Armada was coming from the winner's bracket. Like, he's owed that loss. And so actually after a best of 5, a really like intense best of 5 match, when Mewtwo King defeated Armada, it actually reset the entire set. So because Armada was owed that loss, so he still got another chance because it's double elimination. So technically he hadn't lost, so he had to lose. If he lost that one, he got another shot. And so best of 5 happened. He lost. They go into the second set, a whole other best of 5. So that's 10 matches. Mewtwo King just came off of a match with Hungry Box directly into it. So I'm talking about he's playing like somewhere between 12 to 14 games in a row, and Armada's playing 10 games in a row. So there's like some fatigue going on. It's a long process. It was just such a great thing to watch. Most of the time, no, the entire time Armada played Peach and Mewtwo King played Marth, which is considered, Marth is very favored against Peach as far as we know. Just Armada just like, is just a master with Peach. And so he actually came through and won the whole tournament. And so he actually lost the grand finals, but because he was owed that loss, he went into a whole other set and then took the whole SmashCon. It was just such a great thing to watch live. I watched it live and I couldn't keep my eyes off of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. So congratulations to Armada and Hungrybox and Mewtwo King. All of y'all get a player 5 medal.
Yeah.
You know what?
Congratulations!
We're getting a player 5 medal ourselves, Rendon, just because it's episode 2. We made it this far. We should have our own freaking medals. So congratulations, y'all have been blessed by us.
Yeah. And I want to say one thing. Mewtwo King, he really, because he got so far and was so close and he played so many matches in a row, like he had a really great showing, but he just lost right at the very end. So I didn't want to say like Armada won and he deserved it, but Mewtwo King definitely had a really good showing.
Well, kind of switching up to finish off our Smash Bros topics. Like you mentioned earlier, we're going to get to Hungry Box, who didn't have a good day the other day.
Yeah. He tweeted this right after he lost to Mewtwo King, right before the grand final.
Well, he tweeted a few things on August 12th, and I want to start with, he retweeted Mango. Mango wrote a tweet on August 12th as well that Hungry Box retweeted. That says, "For the people giving me shit, I stream 40 hours plus a week while trying to be a top player, while not being happy with my results, while never turning down a fan for whatever, while trying to be a family man. 99.999% of you couldn't make it in these shoes, so STFU." He started off with tweeting that. Later, Hungry Box tweets F this. And then, not too much longer later, he tweets, "Maybe it was because I was trying to see whether or not I would make my flight, which due to schedule delays, I was about to miss. But no, let's go ahead and assume I'm putting on a show. I'm just an effing monkey dancing for y'all, huh?" And that was in response to a tweet that is unavailable. I'm pretty sure the person probably deleted that. But the final tweet for that day, and the last tweet he's posted, which was on August 12th still, he says, "F this community, man. All you guys ever do is look for ways to give me shit over any tiny little thing. All 12 years of me playing Melee has been full of it. I'm literally mocked by my peers, my competitors, and community figureheads on a daily basis. Like, what's the point anymore?"
Yeah.
Rough day.
Yeah, that's a pretty
day.
rough string of tweets.
And I just want to say, so for anyone who doesn't know, I work in the music business and I do my own music. when you do an art, and I consider this an art, when you train all day to perfect a craft and you have your own style and people recognize you for that, that's an art. These players are artists in their own right. People will critique you without caring about the effort you put into
it's the internet, dude.
Exactly. Well, especially the internet. But I feel where he's coming from. I really do. And I think it's important for people to understand that it's all just entertainment at the end of the day. These guys just want to have fun. They love what they're doing, and they love to show off what they're doing. It's meant to be watched. Getting personal with it and going after people like that, and really mocking these players, it's not cool. And that's why the Smash Bros community is having such a dark cloud over them these days, and especially this after the whole thing at EVO with the Smash 4 finals.
Right.
It's kind of rough.
Right, you're right.
And I hate to see this because Hungrybox has brought a lot of entertainment. I mean, he's never going to hear this, I assume. Hopefully he does, maybe. But I know you and I have enjoyed watching Hungrybox, especially his highlights.
Yeah.
He's a very well-respected player. So is Mewtwo King, so is Armada. That whole Smash Melee community does things that we didn't even know the game could do.
Yeah. I'll say.
So I hate to see this.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate to see this too. It's one of those things where it's like you just get really disappointed in the community because, you know, we both love the game so much and we love talking about Smash Brothers, but, you know, we're not going to, you know, go out and call people, you know, names and get mad for really no reason. I think what kind of, you know, when I was talking about the SmashCon 2018, the game versus M2K, like I said, he wasn't feeling it. Like he wasn't having a good day at that point before he even got into the finals. And he just had a bad showing. And so just that, you know, put together, like people were, you know.
And it happens.
Yeah.
Not everyone's on their A game all the time. I think people need to understand that no matter how much we play this game, and for those who don't know, me and Rendon, we go at it when we play each other. I mean, we've known each other since we were 4 or 5. Like, we're competitive with each other.
Yeah.
And I would say both Rendon and I are above average players. I mean, we're not going to win any tournaments. We're not going to win any tournaments in first place. At least we may go far in a tournament, but we're not going to win. Yeah, we're not going to win first place though.
Yeah.
I think just you need to look at these players who does this amazing thing with this game that we love to watch, knowing that we'll never be able to accomplish these things, and just enjoy it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Because we're not going to be able to recreate these moments.
Yeah.
And antagonizing these people because they're not number one, which there can only be one number one. I mean, if you take the 12 greatest Mario Kart players in the world, one of them is going to be 12th place. They're going to look last. They're going to look bad being in last.
Yeah,
it happens.
It's true.
Right?
But he's the 12th and the best in the world. I mean, that's kind of...
He's 12th best in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the thing is...
looks bad because of the competition around him. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Hungrybox is one... I'm pretty sure he's won a number of things.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the Melee community has taken a carousel of who's won. I don't think it was like Smash 4 where Zero pretty much won everything except that one time Nairo won.
Yeah. And Hungrybox specifically, I think it's interesting that people get so mad at him and stuff because he plays Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is not as good as, like, you know, a Fox or a Marth, you know? So he kind of does what the fans want. Like, the fans want to see really weird stuff like that at high level, you know?
Right. And it brings in an extra sense of entertainment.
Right.
When he gets
he's like, wow, he's actually doing
sleep.
He got to the finals of SmashCon, and he rested M2K in the finals. It's like, that's pretty crazy. The fact, that's one thing about Jigglypuff. When I say rested, it's, you know, like you said, when you go to sleep, you can insta kill your opponent, and just knowing the percentages at which each character dies at what time and doing it in a final scenario, like, that's a lot of pressure. It's impressive, you know? And so Hungrybox doesn't deserve this. And
no,
I hate that it's happening.
Yeah, but we hope that he bounces back. We hope that he comes back and that his next showing will do well.
Yeah.
Hopefully the fans won't antagonize him, but it's the internet. But
right.
With that being said, Time to move on
Yeah.
to something off of Nintendo.
Yeah,
We're
we
going
can
to
talk
Bethesda.
about Bethesda. We have a lot to talk about with them.
Let's first talk about their threatening to PlayStation. Their kind of low-key threat to leave PlayStation.
Yeah, it was very low key. There was nothing specific said, but there were a few reports saying that Bethesda is the creative designer for specifically Elder Scrolls Online. Was talking about he doesn't see a future in which Elder Scrolls not being playable on the PlayStation would succeed, and so it's putting even more pressure on Sony to create crossplay. Sony in the past has notoriously not played with crossplay with Fortnite and a few other things, and Elder Scrolls Online, they're wanting people to have as many options of play together as possible, and the Elder Scrolls Online community would be all one, and then PlayStation would have their own little community separated from everyone else. And the game developers and the players, no one wants that.
And Bethesda made it clear that they're going to see their vision through, that they're not going to let non-crossplay be a factor.
Right.
They want it to be crossplay. And it's crazy because you think about it, Bethesda has probably been one of the bigger third-party supports along with Ubisoft for like getting their games on the Switch.
Yeah.
I think that PlayStation really needs to, or Sony specifically, really needs to think about what they're going to do with the PlayStation 5 and not have another PlayStation 3 fallout like they did when they brought the PlayStation 3 and it was $600 because they were on their high horse that they're the best. Because right now PlayStation 4 is dominating the market.
Right.
Switch is a newcomer, so they're catching up. They probably won't ever catch up to the PlayStation 4 sales. But PlayStation 4 has been dominating for a while. Microsoft has really not been in the picture at all.
Yeah. But they're isolating their own players from the rest of the community of
exactly.
Of all these games,
and PlayStation's excuse is that their community is so big. I mean, it's bigger than Microsoft and Nintendo's put together. That it's big enough that why does it matter? Like we have such a big community. But Sony's doing what Sony did before the PlayStation 3, and hopefully this brings them back down to earth. Because I think that they're going to start falling from this point on. If other game developers start saying, all right, well, we're not going to play along with Sony, then they're going to become the new Nintendos with nothing but their own exclusives to try to sell their console.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, a bunch of developers have already come after them for this, but Bethesda is so big. Bethesda is like, that really matters. I mean, it matters for everyone else too. I'm not saying it doesn't matter for like Fortnite and those game developers, but there's enough people behind them, and specifically Bethesda, this huge company that people just love their games. They're getting a lot. This is the most pressure, I think. It's definitely getting more and more high pressure. So yeah, that's definitely something that should be watched, and hopefully it'll open up crossplay for Elder Scrolls Online. And I do want to say that I think a big part of this is, and we'll talk about, we have Fallout 76 is going to be the next topic we talk about. I want to kind of relate that because, Fallout 76 is coming very soon, and multiplayer it's the first time multiplayer is going to be allowed in the Fallout universe. And I think that's going to be related to this whole crossplay. Like, they're going to want to play crossplay on Fallout 76 as well. Elder Scrolls Online, I think, is more important for crossplay, but, Bethesda's just like, look, we have a bunch of games down the pipe, and we got to have crossplay.
And I think they should. I like their stance. Bringing it back to Fallout 76 with their multiplayer, I'm just going to admit it. I've always wanted to play a Fallout game. I haven't. I'm sorry.
It's good.
Failure. I'm sorry. I want to play a Fallout. And you know what? So maybe Fallout 76 is a good one to start. I don't know if it's going to be important to play the other Fallouts before this. I don't know how in tune the story is.
I don't think it's going to be that
Kingdom Hearts story. But Fallout 76 had a lot of info come out at QuakeCon. I know you were definitely in tune with that. How'd you fill us in, Rendon?
Well, there's a lot of info that went down at QuakeCon, and we're not going to go through all of it. I just wanted to talk about the thing I find the most interesting. But yeah, so Fallout 76, as we said, is multiplayer. It's the first time the Fallout universe has multiplayer in it. They're not banning friendly fire, and that was something that they had said at E3, and that a lot of people were like, "Oh wow, if friendly fire is not turned off, then this is just going to be a PvP game. Like this is going to be kill each other game. It's not going to be a co-op RPG like they want it to be." And a lot of people worried about that. And I mean, I was personally, because I just love Fallout. I've played Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and I love those games. And I just, I'm a sucker for RPG. So, when I heard that, I was just like, there's no way. If you don't have that turned off, people are just going to be killing everybody. You know how that goes. I mean, you and we do that in Halo and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if you don't mind if I jump in for a bit, I actually did see something about this. So if you do a friendly fire, doesn't it kind of initiate a duel? And that if someone starts shooting at you, it doesn't do that much damage to you. But if you start shooting back, then it's normal. But if the player starts shooting you but then runs, there's a bounty on his head. Yeah,
it's kind of like that. I don't think it has much to do with like damage output. I may be wrong, but mostly, yeah. What I'll say is that so they're trying to de-incentivize it and incentivize co-op play, because what happens is if someone kills you, that immediately signifies a revenge plot line where when you spawn back, they say, all right, you can take revenge on this person for killing you, and you'll get XP, you'll get experience for it, and you'll get money. And at the same time, the person that killed you becomes a giant red star on the map, so everyone on that server can see them. And whenever he has a red star over his head, that means he's wanted, and like you said, there's a bounty on his head. So it's like they're incentivizing you to get revenge, you get XP and you get money, but the money comes from the bounty on his head. And this is where it gets real serious. Like, it really is going to de-incentivize people from killing each other. The bounty actually comes out of the player who killed the first person. It comes out of their currency in the game. So yeah, it's very real. Like, they want it to be as realistic as possible, and be like, look, if you kill people, you're gonna be known as a jerk, and everyone's gonna go after you because they get money and XP for killing you. So, I mean,
nice.
Yeah, it seems
they really thought this through.
Yeah, it's a very unique way to do it, and I love it. I just love it so much.
Nice. Was there anything else really interesting at the QuakeCon?
That's mostly what I want to talk about. I will say,
okay,
they did talk a lot more about specifics of like the special, the perk system, but we're not going to get into that. I think that's a little much to talk about right now. But they're changing up the way you level up in the game, and it's going to make it where it doesn't feel like it's ever getting old. When you play an RPG game long enough, it feels like, oh my gosh, how much more could I get? But this is going to be like refreshing the game for, it seems like, years to come. They want to support it for a long time.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely excited. I really do want to try it. I'm going to give it an effort.
You should, man.
But I should. I really should. But now going from Bethesda, who seems to be very supportive of Switch and putting Doom over Wolfenstein, such and such, Blizzard has kind of been critical of the Switch. But they have recently announced, I think it's been officially announced, Diablo 3 Eternal Edition coming to the Switch. I know you're excited.
Oh man, I'm so excited. I was very late into getting into Diablo 3. Like, I literally played Diablo 3 for the first time this past year, and it's been out for a long time. But oh my gosh, it's so fun, and it's got the most like after game interest. What do you call that? Replayability. It has so much replayability because it's just the way the game's designed. Like, you just play it over and over again, and you'll never get tired of it. And now you can play it on the Switch. Oh my gosh, you can like take it anywhere. It's a whole other interest now.
Doesn't everything on the Switch feel better? Like, doesn't it just feel better?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the only game, like, if they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 for the Switch, that's the only game I probably wouldn't get on the Switch. I would eventually, but I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3, I really just want to sit down and take all of that in.
Right.
That I've been waiting 12 years for, or however long I've been waiting. But everything
Way too
else that
many
just
years.
says, like, here's a Switch version of it. And which, again, Dark Souls, I think, actually finally got their date or some announcement for it. Things just feel better when it comes to the Switch.
Yeah.
Makes you happier.
I mean, it's like I was talking to someone about this news, and they were kind of like, "Oh, I played Diablo 3, but I've played it years ago. It's not that interesting." But it's like, "Oh, it's on the Switch. That's a whole other thing. That's like I can play it in the car when I'm just riding on a long road trip. Like it's such a good time killing game, but like in a good way. It's not like you're killing time and not like enjoying yourself."
Yeah, doesn't it sometimes, like, believe it or not, I mean, I'm not saying all games for the Switch should be like this, but sometimes a little less interesting and a little more time-killing game works well on the Switch, because it's really hard for me to play Mario Odyssey in a car or like Breath of the Wild because I'm so focused on what's happening.
Right.
But smaller games, maybe like Diablo 3, I've never played it, so I'm excited to check it out.
You got to get it.
Maybe that would be like a great in the car game, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's I feel like we kind of talked about this a while back whenever the second Luigi's Mansion came out, how it's a good thing to play when you're just killing time, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was a good time killer.
Yeah.
That's about as much as I'll say about it. It did not live up to its predecessor.
Oh, absolutely not. But it's fun to
Which is
play when
hard.
you're just, bored and you're on the go.
Oh, yeah.
You can't really go home and sit down and watch and like play a full gone console game. And I think Diablo 3 is gonna just like sell so much in that space. And
Yeah.
it
I hope
also,
it
I
does.
did see it's gonna support local and online multiplayer. As far as I know it's local multiplayer. The online multiplayer, the website at which they refer you to, it kind of doesn't really say 100% that the multiplayer is going to be online as well, but I have a feeling they wouldn't do it unless it was going to be online multiplayer. But I know that they're having like local multiplayer available. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, while Diablo 3 makes it to the Switch, Steep gets canceled for the Switch from Ubisoft. For those who don't know what Steep is, it was a snowboarding game that apparently didn't work well on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. They just couldn't get it to run smoothly. They stayed quiet about it forever, but I think they actually said something on Twitter in a reply to a comment that kind of confirmed that Steep got canceled for the Switch. I don't really care. I'm a 1080 guy. Those are my snowboarding games from the GameCube.
That was a
I
good
played
game.
1080 Avalanche a lot, and Wave Race Blue Storm. I would love a Wave Race game to come to the Switch, by the way. Please make that happen.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
So I'm not really too worried about that. One I am excited about that probably I'm the only one in the world is Light Fingers, which was announced last year for the Switch. Got some news.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
Finally,
that.
it didn't get any news for like any of this year. It's supposed to come out in early 2018, which is what they said, and then early 2018 comes around and it didn't, and then nothing was said. And now finally the Twitter account has started to have some activity. So for those who don't know what Lightfingers is, it's a board game about thieves. And the board has nothing on it, but the board game unveils itself as you go through it. And every time you play, the board's going to be a little bit different. But even as thieves, you're trying to get the most money and trying to loot spaces of the board. So you're also setting traps, which initiate mini games. And these mini games are like survival mini games where you're either running across a bridge with all these traps on it, and you're trying to survive and take money from people and such like that. It seems like a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
And I was hooked when I saw it. As far as I'm concerned, it's only going to be local multiplayer. Now, if for some reason this huge delay was to make online multiplayer, that'd be great, because Rendon, I'd make you download it. Because it seems
sounds really
very
cool.
interesting.
A cool concept.
It looks very interesting. I encourage people to go check it out. Look it up on YouTube. Just call Light Fingers. Yeah, they got some. It's got some interesting elements. So I'm excited that the news is brewing back up, because I do want to see what it looks like when it comes out and if I want to get it.
Yeah. That's nice. I'm excited to hear more about it. I don't really know too much about it, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's one of those I think needs to get more attention. It's just a small little indie. I don't know if they've had any other games ever come out. This might be their first one, but Let's see. Anything else on the docket? Do you want to talk about the
we have
Ayyy
one more thing.
Paradise?
We won't spend long on it because we need to get to the games. But yeah, no, Emu Paradise is as it's not a paradise for giant birds as it sounds like it is, but it's a Emu Paradise. It's a short for emulation paradise, and they got hit with a bunch of lawsuits from Nintendo. Because they were uploading illegal ROMs of GameCube and Wii games, like older games that aren't available to Virtual Console, and Nintendo just hit them with so many lawsuits. And that itself, that's kind of the news. But
yeah,
I think
maybe now they'll turn into a paradise for emulated big birds.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
Sell PS1 ROMs?
I mean, well, they've kind of just stopped uploading ROMs. They have other things that people can go to their site for, but uploading ROMs is like completely done because lawsuits from Nintendo just shut them down. But the thing that is kind of coming from that is like the questions that some of the people that are involved in this community, they're kind of like, oh, does this mean, because emulation has been around for so long and Nintendo tries to shut it down, but it's not like they don't really go at it like this. So is that maybe hinting at Nintendo making those older games available?
Well, they did just recently announce that Super Mario Bros. 3 will be part of the first 20 games that come out with the online service. So with these two coinciding with each other, it is possible. I don't really think so. Nintendo's always been very stingy about things. I think that Emu Paradise was just getting too popular for its own good.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I think they just finally went for it. Nintendo's always been going against hacking, and not necessarily successfully, to be quite honest. But I don't know. It might be about that, and that'd be nice. It would make sense with their online service about to come out, and if they're going to have a lot of SNES games or NES games, I could see them getting rid of these ROMs. But I don't know. I think it's more Nintendo just being Nintendo.
Yeah, and that's probably true. I don't know. There's a little bit of talk saying like hopefully they'll make these games available. There's always hope there. I know you and I both just like would pay any amount of money just to get all the GameCube games that we like on the Switch.
Oh yeah. But Luigi's Mansion doesn't seem to be one of them coming anytime soon because the 3DS exists, people. If you didn't know,
I don't hate the 3DS exists, but now the Switch,
and that's where Luigi's Mansion.
The Switch is here. It's like we need to just put everything on the Switch because it's the portable and the console.
I hate when Luigi's Mansion goes to the 3DS. That's when I hate the 3DS.
Right, and I agree. I don't like that either.
But otherwise, Emu Paradise, best of luck to you. That's what Nintendo just did to you. Hopefully you make a emulated paradise for the emus. I'm sure the emulated emus would love a place to call home. Other than that, draw your ROMs. Grunts will fall for y'all in y'all's anger. But with that being said, that's the end of our news segments, which means we get to jump into the games. Yes, for those who are new, most of y'all, because this is episode 2. Yay! We made it to episode 2. Congrats. We play games at the end of our podcast. One will be the consistent every week, will be the trivia, which is where one of us gives 5 clues about a character. The other one must, after each clue, give a guess until 5 is over. Whoever doesn't get it. This week, Rendon will be giving the character. So if I don't get it in 5, he wins. If I get it in 5, I win, which will then set us up for our next game, which we'll get to after this. Y'all can play along, of course. Maybe y'all get the character before I do. Maybe you don't. But Rendon, are you prepared to try and unsuccessfully defeat me?
Yes. I don't know how to answer that.
Defeated.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We just don't know.
But yeah, no.
We don't know.
Kind of what Austin was trying to say is this game is going to be a recurring game that we have that is going to help set us up, like you said, for the next game where whoever wins gets a not necessarily advantage, but gets a choice over the next game.
This is like our coin toss to who.
Yeah, but it's
gets
a
which
game
side
in the
next game,
coin toss, so it's even cooler.
essentially. Yeah, because we could flip a coin, but y'all wouldn't know, and one of us wouldn't know, because I could say tails all I want, and then flip this imaginary coin and say, "Hey, I got tails." Rendon wouldn't know. And I don't think Rendon trusts me enough.
All right, you want to go ahead and get into the first game?
Let's go ahead and give me that first clue.
All right, first clue. They are voiced by Charles Martinet, who also voices Mario. That's the guy who voices Mario. He's a famous voice actor. And they're voiced by him.
So I feel like this got to be a Nintendo character, but I could be wrong. Luigi.
Nope. Okay. Failure on your part. So question 2. This character is the host of Mario Party 7. So you know how all the Mario parties kind of have a host at the beginning?
I never played Mario Party 7.
That's right. I knew you hadn't.
Oh, so you're cheating. Oh.
I'm not cheating.
Mario Party 7.
I believe that's the last one that was on the GameCube before it all went to the Wii.
Yeah, Mario Party 8 had the hat guy.
Yeah.
He had the first Cappy.
Right. It was like Cappy's cousin? I don't know. We don't know these things.
I don't know, man.
There's some more there we should look up.
Right? Oh, man. Mario Party 7. I gotta really think this through. Donkey Kong was Mario Party... Nope, Donkey Kong.
Nope, that's wrong.
That was Mario Party 6.
Yeah. I think it is Mario Party 6. I didn't know Donkey Kong. But that sounds right. All right. You ready?
All right.
Okay.
Quick question. Just clarity. You don't have to answer this. Is he in anything else other than Mario Party 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm about to tell you the next clue is his first appearance was in Super Mario Sunshine.
So it's not Toad. First appearance Mario Party Sunshine. Host of Mario Party 7. Bowser Jr.
Nope.
Oh.
Failure. I can't believe you didn't get that one. Honestly, I thought as soon as I said that, you were going to immediately get it.
Well, I mean, I can. There's still other people I could guess here.
Maybe this was harder than I thought, but either way.
No, I'm going to get question 4. Let's go. I got this.
Question 4. All right. A younger version of this character plays a vital role in the game Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
Flood?
Nope. Good guess though.
Failure. I'm thinking now. I'm just really going for clue 3. Who was introduced to
Super Mario Sunshine? Yeah. But yeah, like I said, a younger version played a vital role in a younger version of this same character played a vital role in Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
I think EGAT was in Partners in Time, but he was introduced in Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, you're right. I can't believe you haven't got it yet, actually.
I have one guess left. So.
Yeah, you have one more guess. Okay, here we go. In the same game, so Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, he has an alter ego who ends up being a boss, and you defeat him in a boss battle.
So I have a few thoughts here.
Okay.
My last real one is his name Captain Toadstool? I don't know, or Grandfather Toad. That guy, whoever he is. I'm thinking him.
Okay.
I don't know if that was his first introduction. It may have been though. I can't think of him in anything else. I do know that it's not Captain Toadstool. What is his name? Grandfather Toad. You know who I'm referring to.
Is that your guess?
Him. You know who it goes. No, but I do know he plays an important role in the Mario and Luigi's.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm thinking of anything else, I can't think of anyone major else that was introduced. I'm going with the Grandfather Toad.
Okay, that is correct.
Hey,
yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, there you go. So his name, I gave it to you because I knew you knew who I was talking about, but his name is Toadsworth.
Toadsworth, that's right.
Yeah, so yeah, he hosted Mario Party 7. He's voiced by the same guy who voices Mario. and apparently his alter ego is a boss battle in Mario and Luigi's Part in Time, which is crazy to me.
Which I never finished. That was one of the Mario and Luigi's I didn't finish.
Yeah.
But I did play. I did go through all of Superstar Saga, which is a great game.
Yeah. I thought as soon as you heard the Super Mario Sunshine was his first appearance, you were immediately gonna get him.
You know, I think Bowser Jr. wasn't a bad guess. I can't think of any time that Bowser Jr. specifically was in a Mario game.
Before Sunshine? Yeah, that's not a bad guess.
Yes. And I picked Flood on the next one.
7, but I mean, that wasn't a bad guess, though.
I mean, it was possible. I didn't play it, so I didn't know. I guess Flood on the next one because Flood was introduced. I didn't know if they use a thing over his voice, an effect over his voice. But in I think it was Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, EGAT appeared with a different version of the Poltergeist 3000. So when you said a younger version, I thought that it was possible that there was a earlier version of Flood that was in the game because EGAD has earlier version of his invention in these games. So
yeah, it wasn't a bad guess.
I gave educated guesses.
No, yeah, you had good guesses. What I was gonna say though is EGAD, he was one I was thinking about picking, but like you said, he was introduced in Luigi's Mansion. I thought as if I said he was introduced in Luigi's Mansion, the small amount of characters in the game, I thought you'd get that one.
King Boo was there before Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. Good job. That was good.
I liked it. That was a good character pick. I appreciate that one. Thank you.
Good.
I wonder if anyone else got it by question 3. If you did, let us know. We may not believe you because it's kind of like coin tossing. We don't know, but I mean, hey, pat yourself on the back. You get a Player 5 medal from us if you actually got it. So this last one is going to be a debate between us, and we had mentioned this in episode 1, so we decided it's episode 2. If we mentioned it in episode 1, has to be part of episode 2. We are going to debate the future Zelda games with the graphical style or themes. Should they be more artsy or dark? If you remember in episode 1, Rendon had mentioned he was a huge fan of Wind Waker. Wind Waker is probably his favorite Zelda game. And I am a huge fan of Twilight Princess and Majora's Mask, which if you heard from the intro song and me screaming, please bring Skull Kid in Smash, I like the darker ones. Twilight Princess, though, left a huge mark on me. They both came out on the GameCube, even though Twilight Princess had an mirrored version on the Wii. Which funny story real quick.
Really good story on that.
Rendon had a Wii way before I did, so he got Twilight Princess on the Wii. I got Twilight Princess on the GameCube. And we were both trying to go through the water temple at the same time, and he's screaming, "It's on the left. I swear it's on the left." I'm like, "There's a wall on the left."
Yeah, we were trying to help each other over the phone through the yeah, we were really helping each other over the phone, like through the temples. And I'm like, "It's on the left," and you're like, "It's not." Oh my gosh! And
it wasn't until it wasn't until you came to my house and I put in the game, and you noticed that the intro scene where Link is riding his horse, that it was different, that it was opposite.
Yeah, it's an
and you were
exact
like, "What
mirror.
is this?"
So, just for anyone out there that doesn't know, Link is a left-handed swordsman, and so they created the game to be played with like a regular controller, like the GameCube. And then at the last minute, when the Wii came out, they had to completely mirror the whole game around Link because more people are right-handed and that are going to be using the Wii for the motion controls. And it was easier to mirror the entire world around Link than to change Link's core controls. So that's a really cool little like fun fact you didn't know, and it came out in our like playing of the game together when we were just like yelling at each other over the phone. That's like one of my favorite things to remember about games.
Why you play games together. This is not the first time me and Rendon have raged each other over a game, but we have a great story for another day. Rendon knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk.
So I won the game, so I'm going to go first.
Yeah, well, hey, let me say, this game, we're calling it Player One Supremacy. And it's
which
really...
you earlier said that there's something about being Player One. People fight over Player One.
Yeah, and it's going to, on our end, it's going to be mostly a debate to listen to, but the way it's going to become a game is, hopefully, we'll have a community get involved, and through comments on YouTube and eventually more outlets will be able to figure out who the winner is. So it'll be a game for us and the kind of our listeners together. So if you're listening and you want to get involved, you can, at the end of this debate, you can say who won, and then they'll be player one the next episode.
And give your reasons why. Or even give your own opinion. Tell us we're both wrong. We want to hear.
Yeah.
We like to see all the angles and views. We are both Rendon and I don't care if anyone disagrees with us. In fact, we actually care more about why you disagree with us than the fact that you do disagree with us.
Yeah, that's true.
We just like to hear all sides. So we hope you enjoy, listen, and get hyped about it with us and tell us in the comments. But like I said, I won the game. I found out Toadsworth, so I win the 20 cost means I will debate first.
So you can choose between debating first or rebuttaling first.
Yes, I'm going to debate first.
Okay.
Let me start off with Breath of the Wild, which was the last game, which tried to play a bit of the artsy and dark and the realistic. Nintendo knows that there's been a huge debate between the Twilight Princess style and the Wind Waker style, and they started trying to get the middle ground with Skyward Sword, which looked weird. They got it a lot better with Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild's graphics were amazing.
I agree.
So I guess I don't mind if they go darker graphics. I hope they do. But I guess I'm going to go with a darker theme in mind. I feel like Twilight Princess was the best Zelda game as far as actual story goes. Or how story plays out within the game. Like Ocarina of Time has a massive story behind it, and it works great, and it sets up this whole premises. But Twilight Princess, the way events unfolded, the way it was, the type of characters that were in them, Midna, Zant, the whole mysterious side of the whole dark, I forget what they're called now. It's been a while since I played it, but you get into random battles with the three dark creatures.
Yeah,
especially when
I don't know
you're
what
a
they're
wolf,
called.
you have to beat them all three at the same time. And I think with the darker themes, you can really get into the emotion of people. With Twilight Princess, when people got put into the Twilight and they were being antagonized by the bugs that you had to get for their tears, oh my gosh, worst section ever.
That was the worst.
And I'll admit that was a horrible section, but not as bad as Wind Waker trying to find all the treasure boxes.
Okay. I'll give you that one.
Give me that one. The fear that they had, the character development, and just the people themselves. The soldiers, how they were scared after Hyrule was taken over. The backstory of why Zelda made the decisions she did. The dark humor that Midna had, and the relationship between Link and Midna. There hasn't been that. You had the relationship between Navi and Link, but that was not as close as Midna and Link. There was kind of a disdained friendship in that one. You saw destruction before you. We're in like Ocarina of Time. And here's my issue with kind of the stories and whatnot. Ocarina of Time started before Ganondorf really took over. Then you jumped ahead 7 years and saw what Ganondorf was doing, right? After the fact he did it. Twilight Princess, or no, Wind Waker. It just kind of happened. It was what it was. And then you kind of got to know what happened in the past. And then you had the one dark moment of stabbing a sword in Ganondorf's head. Twilight Princess, the ending of Twilight Princess has to be one of the most epic. Just the battle, the way it unfolded.
Yeah, that was really good. I'll give you that.
And it was dark. And then Majora's Mask. You also saw the same thing. There was a lot of dark themes in Majora's Mask and a lot of emotions shown. And so when you look at Twilight or Wind Waker, you didn't have that. I don't really feel like you had people living kind of their normal lives, and it was that, and people just kind of accepted what they were. Then you got some backstory, but that was about it. You didn't really get that in what was going on. And I want that for the next Zelda. I feel like the next Zelda should use the same map. It just should. That was a huge map. It worked well, and there's so much you can do with it now that Breath of the Wild is out. But Breath of the Wild was so kind of dry and quiet. The ending was not epic at all. I'm just saying. There was not an epic final battle.
That's definitely opinion that could be fought over.
I
kind of see what you're saying.
They had a cool cutscene if you did all the 4 divine beasts, but I mean, it was an epic battle, but it wasn't an epic moment. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't feel necessarily satisfied in the moment. I didn't feel like I did anything because I don't feel like I saved anything during the entire game. Like with Twilight Princess, you're going back, Xant's causing all this destruction, you're going back and forth with him, he's set in someplace under Twilight, you're bringing it back, the mirror is shattered, he shattered it, you gotta go get it back and defeat him, all these things, then you go against Ganondorf. It doesn't happen like that in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, you wake up, you see some memories of what happened, and there was a couple dark moments in the memories, but it's kind of like, here's what it is. All right, well, Hyrule Castle is under disarray, like always. There's really only one village to speak of with people in it. That's just Sheikah Town. They know everything for some odd reason. They just tell you everything. Then you go to the Gorons, the Zoras, and the bird people, the Ritos. It wasn't really much going on, and no one even seemed to really care of the fact that their life was it. Besides the Sheikahs, the Gorons seemed to be happy with what was happening in their lives. The Ritos didn't seem to know there was much going on, and the Zoras were, you know, they were mourning over Mipha and such like that, but no one was really hyped about what was going on. Whereas in Twilight Princess and Majora's Mask, people knew what was happening. And so I feel like for the next Zelda game, you need to have, I feel like there should be more civilization in there. I feel like there should be more towns and stuff happening in them. I feel like during the game, it should be kind of open world. I know it'd be harder, but like destruction should be happening during the game. I feel like Ganondorf needs to be making his move while the game is happening. I don't think we should see what's happened before he made his move. I don't think we should see what happens after. I feel like it should be happening. And you should be having a struggle on beating that and stopping that from happening. And some of these towns get destroyed and all of that. I don't want this kind of barren wasteland with a couple barren, like, broken machines and saying, all right, here we go. Just go for it. And Wind Waker was just a bunch of islands from mountains from the old Hyrule. And everyone just kind of accepted it. And you just kind of went around, did some temples, and went to kill Ganondorf because he existed still, apparently. That's how I feel.
Okay, I mean, I get that. Well, okay. Is it my turn now?
It's your turn. The floor is yours.
Okay. I know what you're saying, everything you said. I kind of agree with that. I think Twilight Princess, I think the reason it's so good at telling these like more in-depth plot lines and like relationships between characters. I think that's like growing pains for Nintendo. You know, I think they learned a little more as time went along because Twilight Princess came out, you know, pretty far into the Zelda series. But with that said, I agree with what you said. I liked Breath of the Wild. You kind of crapped on a little bit later on, but I think you overall liked it.
Of course.
And I think Breath of the Wild actually, to get to like what we're actually trying to debate is like whether the future Zelda game should be more artsy and fun or like kind of darker. I think
they're going to keep the same art style. You know, I think that what they did, I think the next one's going to look a lot similar to it.
Okay, well,
so if it goes darker, I'd be totally fine. If it's cartoony as heck, then I'm probably not going to like it. I don't want to see that whole entire world in this huge cartoon style. So if it's darker, it looks darker, more realistic, I'm all for it. Give it to me. But I still think that the graphic style also kind of reflects what the themes of the games were.
Right, I agree. And this is what I'll say. Like, I think Breath of the Wild actually kind of splits the difference a little bit as far as only graphics kind of go.
Yes.
Their story, you know, you can kind of compare that too, but the graphics specifically, you know, looks like kind of realism, but then also it has the artsy kind of like tone to it. But, you know, when we're talking about Wind Waker, and why I like it so much, I guess here's what kind of I brought to the table. My biggest, like, I'm actually going to use another piece of pop culture to make my point. I think this whole thing, this argument about whether it should be darker or a little more fun or artsy, as we kind of call it, and artsy is not used in like a negative way. Artsy is in like the way it looks, the way it kind of feels. So I'm actually going to use another piece of pop culture. I'm using the Marvel versus DC universe. And I know there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot of people who could argue up and down about everything about this. So I'm just coming at it from my point of view of it. But so DC with the Snyderverse, that's what they call it. Zack Snyder started taking over a lot of stuff. They've went really dark and gritty, and specifically like Batman versus Superman, that was a really big flop. And Wonder Woman was really good, actually. I liked Wonder Woman, and it did all right, but overall, it didn't do anything close to what you see in Marvel as far as their numbers go. And as far as like views. But so DC has kind of done this thing where they go and they take themselves real serious, and that's cool. And there's stuff to be argued about, like that is good storytelling and a lot of stuff they do. But Marvel has kind of done the exact opposite. And they've kind of come in with this whole, look, we're here to have fun. We're not taking things too serious. And I think to relate that back to this, I think Wind Waker's art style kind of makes you feel the same way. Where like Wind Waker, I like the story of Wind Waker. I think it was a lot more in depth than people get it credit. I think I like the story in Wind Waker more than I like the story in Twilight Princess. I mean, personally. We kind of fundamentally do disagree on these games, and that's not really what we're arguing. We're arguing the future. But I'll say I feel like Wind Waker did something very unique. So if you think about when it came out, it was the first, as far as I know, I think it was the first major Zelda game on the GameCube. And at the time, Twilight Princess came out way later in the GameCube's life. And so at the time, they didn't have the graphical power, hardware and software limitations to make such a good looking game like Twilight Princess. So they did like, we're going to go cartoony because we can't make this super serious looking game with like crazy graphics. And
yeah,
but we
I
can
think
still
Skyward
make a
Sword
really
looked horrible.
Okay, well, that's another thing. But yeah, you're right. I like Skyward Sword. I think it split the difference even more. It was a little more cartoony and realistic at the same time. But Wind Waker, I'll say, is something that like they're like, okay, we're gonna do something completely out of nowhere. We're gonna submerge the entirety of Hyrule underwater, and we're gonna do something unique. And even you could argue so much about like storyline and plot of like other things. I mean, I think we could both agree that Wind Waker's plot is better than Breath of the Wild in some ways, because Breath of the Wild is more of like an RPG where you're kind of like in the world. You're not necessarily telling an amazing story. It's a pretty good story, don't get me wrong, but Wind Waker is a little more plot driven. And so what I'll say is Wind Waker, it has that feeling. It's there, it's fun. It has that we're not taking things serious, but we're telling a good story, a good solid story, and we're spending a lot of good time exploring this world that we've never seen before. We've never seen Hyrule underwater. And I think that you could argue that its storyline is a little dark. I mean, I would say it's not as dark as Twilight Princess, but Twilight Princess is inherently a little more dark in general because, the Twilight realm is full of darkness. It's all kind of surrounding that whole theme. But I think Wind Waker in general, it feels a little more fun, and it feels like, I want to take things serious. It's not like I don't take Zelda serious, but I think there's something to be said about the feeling of having fun when you're playing a game, even if it's not the most serious, craziest, intense game you've ever played. There's a lot of good. Yeah, they're kind of just made for different people and at the different times. And so, I just want to argue that Wind Waker's art style gives a big good credit to the feeling of fun that you have in the game. And and as far as like the future goes, I want to say that I think I kind of agree a little bit what you're saying. Like, I think that they could go super cartoony, but a dark plot line would be okay with me as well. I think that I would rather it be kind of like fun and artsy, but Wind Waker is
Ooh, it's thunderous over there. I can feel the debate heating up. I get what you're saying with the uniqueness of Wind Waker, and it's kind of unfair that I kind of have two games to back me up to your one. Although you do have like
Spirit Tracks and
Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, those are so unique. Those games are both so unique that I feel like that kind of shows that they did stuff unique when they used this art style. And I feel like those just seem to so much more fun because it kind of like breaks the mold of what we are used to.
In Majora's Mask, though, that was unique.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And you had more character development between you and the fairy than you did in you and Navi. Still. Because Tattle didn't even like you, didn't even want to work with you, but still like made it work. And they kind of did that with Midna too. She didn't want to work with you at first. I could not do cartoony dark theme. I just couldn't. I wouldn't be able to take it seriously. I think that when you look at Twilight Princess and you looked at how that world was and how some of the things looked, there was a lot of epicness thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean,
It looked gorgeous, you know? Just how, you know, the woods that you went through, the temple, I guess it was the sand temple or whatnot, where you got that awesome little spinner that you could jump back and forth with. That was awesome. It just, you know, they also had, you know, the jungle temple. They had more villages because you had Kakariko Village, you had the Kokoro Village. I feel like the next Breath of the Wild or the next Zelda game should have stuff like this, more villages, and not just villages for, you know. I know I know one of the side quests in Zelda was to create a village, and they did have another one. I forgot what it was called, but it had the homosexual housemaker guy. Nothing wrong with that. Just what he was. I forgot what city that was. I forgot what city that was, but
that was a Hateno village.
That's right. They had some of that. I just wish they would have more civilization on that huge continent. I'm not saying they have to fill the whole thing up. Obviously, leave some wide open areas, but I think they need to have a little bit more. I think people need to be aware of what's going on. I don't know. I don't know if you could successfully pull that off with a much more cartoony version. I don't think you can pull off such a... I mean, I would give Wind Waker the plot it deserves the credit for, because it actually did have a good plot. It was zany. It was a good plot.
Yeah. Well,
I just don't know how much of the weirdness of cartoony I'm okay with, because if Majora's Mask was cartoony, I don't think that would work well.
Well,
I don't think
know.
that
like whenever
the more
people
seriousness
before Majora's Mask came out, if someone saw on paper what it was going to be, I feel like no one was going to think it was going to work, but it did, you know? So there's not really anything we can say until we see it. Because
right. I don't know if the darker
weird.
themes or darker graphics really take away from the fun. I mean, yeah, obviously psychology says that a cartoony theme or a darker theme would probably change your attitude going into the game. But, you know, Zelda always has this little not knockoff. I mean, everything's technically canon, but they have the 3DS ones, and they kind of keep those cartoony. I feel like for the console ones, they should really just go for it and really give something for the series. I don't feel like Skyward Sword was good story-wise. It was very weird because of Giram. Maybe he's the next Smash Bros character. I hope not. But that again was just another. That was literally Wind Waker opposite. That was like Hyrule before it even mattered. Where Wind Waker is Hyrule after it mattered. That was Hyrule before it mattered.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when I saw the cutscenes for Breath of the Wild, I was tricked, I feel like, because they showed a lot of the memories for the cutscenes trailers for Breath of the Wild. And I felt like it was going to be this huge story where you and Zelda are both going across this big land, like fighting to stop the evil. And I guess now that's what I want. But I want it to be kind of dark. And it doesn't even have to be Ganondorf again. You know, both Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess, even though Twilight Princess ended with Ganondorf, it had new characters, added new elements with it.
Main villain.
So I don't know if it has to be Ganondorf. There's other Zelda villains. If people didn't know, you have like Vati, and I forgot the other one.
Yeah, he's the main villain in a lot of the like portable.
Yeah, Vati is technically a more important villain than Ganondorf is. Ganondorf is just more commercially liked, but Vati is technically a much worse villain than Ganondorf is. I think you could do something with Vati, possibly, because I feel like they said that this Ganondorf or Ganon was his final enraged form. So I don't know if they can bring him back.
Yeah, Calamity Ganon wasn't really Ganon, as we know. So
Yeah.
it was definitely a different take. And they may do something completely different. And I feel like Breath of the Wild, because there was so much hype around it for so long, we knew so much about it going in. It didn't feel like this crazy new thing they did, but they kind of did something new. I mean, obviously they made it more like RPGs that we know and
I
love.
felt like it was a great start for something epic.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say that to say what you were saying, that fun kind of would psychologically make people think this game is more fun, like the artsy like playstyle. What I did want to say, like kind of how I feel like Wind Waker kind of excels in, is that so like there's a lot of major RPGs out there, and I'll reference like Witcher 3 or like Fallout in this scenario, where like Fallout's not fantasy RPG, but you could say really anything like Skyrim or like Witcher 3 is a good one, but they kind of take this tone of like the world is crap, but there's a few good people that live in it and want to do good. But Wind Waker takes this tone of like the world's pretty great, but we got to stop this one or two bad guys that are trying to wreck it. You know what I mean? So it's like the world itself feels a little more lively, and that's kind of what I was saying. That lighter tone takes a pretty big role as far as like experiencing the game as a player.
Well, I
think you could argue that the dark tone has a similar feel to it, but I don't know. I just think that the whole like outlook of the world in itself I think a future Zelda game could benefit for something like that, because it could be a little more fun. It would feel like a little more lively in the world you're living in,
Right. Well, I think that there should be an element of innocence in every dark game. Like Kingdom Hearts, to bring it back because I just love Kingdom Hearts too much, is really dark when you really break it down, but it's very innocent. Yeah. I feel like like I said, I feel like the people should be aware. I feel like people should be kind of maybe scared or try to fight against whatever's happening. Like in Twilight Princess, I always think of the soldiers in Hyrule Castle when you're a wolf at first and you're going through it, and I also think of in the woods where you start off as, and it goes under Twilight, the guy that first sold you the lamp and the oil, the guy with the black guy with the fro, how he was scared of the bugs around him, and even the kids, how they were scared in Kakariko Village, the kids that were scared about it, which by the way, the element of the kids in that game were great, because you had the guy who kind of like the older girl, was too shy, got brave and pushed her out of the way when the Gerudo enemy was coming through.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Those storytelling elements, I feel like Wind Waker had some of them, but I felt like Twilight Princess really did a great job of showing those. And it showed especially in the final battle. The final battle was very personal, which is why I say it was unsatisfactory in Breath of the Wild. It was like, all right, you made it here, let's fight.
Right. No, I definitely see that.
And also it's just all the enemies in Breath of the Wild in general were kind of the same main enemies. Like you didn't have like a Zant,
you're right.
Where
you're right in that.
After the first attack, you're just like, what is happening? Because Zant was just
Lionel?
like insane. Okay, well, the Lionel should have literally just been made the final boss, because the Lionel is the hardest thing in the game.
I know you walk up on that. They don't give you no point of reference. They're like, yeah, you have 3 hearts, and you come on this Lionel, and it's like, yeah, you're just gonna die. There's nothing you can do about it. His one swing takes like 5 hearts at a minimum, and you have 3.
But then you see the people who like perfected this game show their clips of like how they handle like the golden Lionels, and they beat them in like 30 seconds. You're just like oh my gosh. Yeah, they like do all this slowdown time and make things from outside hit them with the little abilities they have.
Breath of the Wild definitely has like these tools. Like it's a very unique and like it's a new, really cool new way to like do Zelda, and it's great.
Oh yeah.
All the
and I think they should expand on it. I feel like the next game, I feel like they should stay graphically where they are. I feel like the next game should stay on the same land, same kind of graphical style. I'm just saying the story should be a bit darker. Something more should be happening besides you woke up and you have something to take care of. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I will say, yeah, you're right. I mean, it felt like in Breath of the Wild, you're kind of discovering the past. You're not really doing anything in the present. But
Which,
I mean,
by the
that's
way,
not necessarily true. But you know,
well, and first off, I don't want to sound like I'm like the Smash Brothers fan base that are gonna cry out because they didn't get Waluigi. Like, that's why I still say Breath of the Wild was a great first step. I mean, I'm sure it was a lot of stress for them to make that whole entire thing. I'm just saying now expand upon it. And make some epic moments with some stories. I like the whole memory thing, but it was unsatisfactory in its own way, you know? Like there were some moments that are like, oh, that's awesome. That was it. It didn't really you didn't need them to finish the game, you know?
yeah.
Give me a moment.
Yeah, I'd like a moment too. That would be really cool, but you know, we'll just see how it goes. And yeah, I think the future of Zelda is going to be pretty great because Breath of the Wild, we have our qualms, but it's a pretty great game. And whether it's, you know, more artsy and fun or if it's dark, we're going to play it. But, you know, just tell us what you think in comments, any listeners out there. Tell us
what do y'all want to see next? Like, what do you think? Do you think it should be kind of more artsy? Do you think it should be dark? Should it be artsy with dark moments? What do you think? We want to hear. Also make sure if you're in the comments, you know, obviously say that I won.
Okay. Right.
Vouch for me. But anyways, yeah. That was fun. I don't have anything else to add on to that. I don't know if you do.
No, that's it. I think we kind of gave our analogies and I think we have pretty good strong arguments of what we think should be the next.
I think we do. We're very strongly believe and passionate about what should be next. But that is a wrap up of episode 2. I had a lot of fun. I know you had a lot of fun, Rendon. If you're listening to this on YouTube, we hope you subscribe, like, all that stuff. We're a growing community. We want you to be a part of it. We are trying to get ourselves on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. We're on Google as well. We're figuring that out. It's been a fun process with this whole new thing. Other than that,
Player 5.
this is Player 5. Would you like to say anything before we out, Rendon?
No, that's it. Just like he said, look out for new ways to listen coming soon, and definitely subscribe and like and leave some comments. Well, I don't know if we have any comments on the first episode, but comment what you think about this Player 1 Supremacy game at the end, but also just tell us what you think overall. Actually, I do want to throw one thing in before we wrap. We didn't mention, and it's important because we're huge Nintendo fans. The Diablo 3 coming to Switch. If you buy it on Switch, you it might be a pre-order bonus. Not really sure. I did want to say it actually comes with a Ganondorf skin.
That's right.
And the pet is going to be a cuckoo, which is like a chicken from the Zelda universe. So that's pretty cool. I wanted to mention that before we went out because we're huge Zelda fans around here and Nintendo fans in general.
And make sure to tell people don't mess with the chickens.
Yeah, they should put an Easter egg in there.
Screw our whole arguments. Chicken as the final boss for the next Zelda game.
That should definitely happen.
But with that being said, this is Player 5. Grunts will fall. Let us know if you want some grunts to fall in the comments, because, you know, we're all about killing grunts here.